Today, too old to work, too broke to quit. America's forgotten seniors.
I don't know how many times I've actually heard that phrase where people say too old to work and too broke to quit. And I think that's pretty much becoming the norm amongst people that's getting up in age and really just started figuring out like, oh, by the way, I gotta save up for retirement. Like I said in past videos, a lot of times people are just surviving. People are just trying to take care of their family, make sure that their kids have a good quality of life, raising children, taking care of grandchildren, children potentially coming back home, and just making sure they're okay. And sometimes us as parents or just adults, we just forget about the long term. I got a few different videos, check them out, and I'll come back in between with my commentary, y'all.
What did you think you'd be doing at 66?
Oh, I would hope to be retired.
And what are you doing at 66?
I'm working my butt off.
No savings, no 401k, not even enough to cover an emergency. She sold her home and with two other women bought a smaller one, living together to save money.
How has that been?
Well, it's been a matter of life and death.
Roughly half of all Americans ages 55 to 66 have nothing saved for retirement.
I have a live for now philosophy, I guess.
How's that serving you now?
Oh, it's horrible.
So I am at one of my old jobs. I have a 401k, and they're about to start messing with y'all retirement. So talk to your accountant or whatever the case to figure out how to get your money pulled out, right? Of these 401ks and all that kind of stuff. So I contacted folks. Let me go ahead and pull this out. Do you know just on the withdrawal, I lost $5,000? I lost $5,000. So they sent me this notice, been sending me this notice. Big bold print. This is my amount. Cool. So time for me to go ahead and withdraw. Oh, no. Look at the small print. Because you didn't vet it. That's not your true amount. We're going to knock off several thousand off the top. And then on the transfer, they take 1%. And then California takes 1%. And then to top it all off, these jokers sent me a tax notice. So then I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. America's really not a fair place. It's really, really hard to do things right here. That's my money. You gave me a whole booklet and explained to me if I sign up for this, I get X amount of this, and then you send me the notice, I get this, and then you're like, no, gotcha. You conned me out of my money. And then you use all these big words and these big jargon and all of these things to make it sound like it's just normal. It's not normal for you to take money from me that I work for when it's just sitting in an account. Like, stop trying to make it seem like you're doing me a favor by stealing my money. And the reason why I have to move this shit is because you guys are going to steal my money again. Living in America is really, really complicated. It's really, really, really unfair.
So my heart really goes out to the last two ladies. As you can see, she's really up in age, and You know, unfortunately, she had to literally have to move in with 2 other people in her age group to really make ends meet. You know, like, you're at the age of 55 and you have to find a roomie is man, it's very unfortunate. But I think a lot of us don't necessarily see how things may kind of play out. You know, life always gives us a lot of curveballs. Leave a comment down below if you know somebody like that's in this situation. But the other lady, she was pretty much trying to move her 401k, and it's a lot of unforeseen fees, and it's a lot of stuff that you'll probably think that you're getting a certain amount, and then ultimately they just literally pinching off of your 401k or whatever money that you save, and it's crazy. And you know, I think that's why a lot of people are disenchanted with the whole 401k thing, because you always think about the strings that very well could be attached with your money. You know, this is money that you are working those 40-hour, 80-hour weeks to set aside for your latter years, right? And ultimately they just finding every which way to take it back.
How do it make you feel knowing that for the last 25 or 30 years that you actually paid into Social Security just to find out the last 10 years before you actually retire and you're able to draw your pension, retirement, or Social Security, they hit you with you can't retire until you're another 10 years older. For instance, it goes from 62 to age 72. And that's what's going on right now. A lot of people who worked their whole entire life thought that they were going to be retiring next year at the age of 62. And they found out that they can't retire until they're 72. How many of you guys know someone who's actually made it to 72 years old? Come on, man. They know people don't live that long. Some people live that long, some people don't. That means they know that they don't have to pay that money. Now, if you guys don't know what Social Security is, for those of you who work a regular job every single day, the next time that you get your check stub, pay close attention to the notations on your check stub. You will see Social Security on there. They take out $35, $40 a week, depends on how you get paid every week, every other week. That money that they take out, that's not free money. That money is building into your Social Security. It's separate from your 401k, your medical plans. That's your Social Security. It means if you were to get hurt midway through your work career and you were to say like sustain a bad injury at work, you would be able to start drawing because you actually paid into Social Security. But if you don't never get injured and you work that 30 to 40 years at that job, whatever they require, how many years on the job? 30 years, I think, 35 years. Means if you don't get hurt, you don't have to draw early. That means you're eligible for all that money after you retire for the rest of your life, which would be like in monthly installments. But now that the game is changing, they're making it to where you can't retire until you almost 72 years old. That's wild, man. That's how you know the signs of the times are changing. It's kind of crazy. So I think when it comes to retirement and Social Security, man, it's a joke. We are all going to be working until our last breath, until our last day on earth. There is no such thing as retirement. How many people do y'all know that's retiring right now? I mean, successfully retiring. A lot of those people who's retired has to take on a second job to supplement their income. Not because of they didn't save enough money. It's because of the cost of living, man. They making it hard for even people to even retire. What about the people who work their whole life, 40, 50 years, can't walk, don't have arms, arthritis? They don't care, man.
45 years old, and I'm supposed to be saving for retirement, but yet I can't afford a trip to the grocery store. I can't fill my freezer. We have to just get the basics for each week because groceries are through the roof, gas is through the roof, and we haven't gotten any raises to combat that. How the hell are we supposed to retire? How are you Gen X mamas? How is Gen X generation even making it? Are we going to retire?
If you really look at it, retiring at 72 it's like mind blowing. Those are really your years where you're supposed to be kicking back if your children have children, because nowadays, like, more and more people are opting out to not have kids, you know. And leave a comment down below if you got children, or if you know of people that's really opting out not to start a family.
Welcome to another episode of the Comments and Moment. Want to retire and can't retire. I talked to a guy, been on the job 48 years. 40, he ain't had but one job. Been on it for 48 years. 48 years. Right out of high school, got the job, and been on that same job for 48 years. So me and him talking, probably a couple of years ago, we talked. He told me, "Brown, I'm going to do about 3 more. Then I'm coming on out." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I got to tighten up some loose ends and everything, you know, get some bills paid off and everything, but I'm coming on out then." I said, "Okay." I started smiling. He said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Come here for a minute." "Yeah, stay here beside me." He said, "Okay." Now, if for 48 years you've been trying to get across that street and you ain't got across there, you want me to believe that you can make it in 5 more though. You can do it in 48, but if you get 3 to 5 more years, you can make it across that street. That's what you want me to believe. Let me tell y'all something to watch my video. Now, this ain't 100%, but I'll say it's in the high 80s. If you ain't got nothing by the time you get 60 years old, you ain't gonna get it. You know, and you know what hurts me? People that I know that's still working, that could retire, but can't retire because the grown children done moved back home with the babies, the grandchildren, running up the light bill, the water bill, ain't working in a pie shop, and y'all don't want to see them outdoors, so you let them come back home. So let me get an understanding. I saw a lady working at this restaurant, feet swole. I'm looking at her. "Don't say it, Brown." I said, "I ain't gonna say it. You ain't gotta worry about it, I ain't gonna say it. I'm sorry to see your feet swole though. Ankle swole. You can't go home and rest. 4 or 5 years ago, you had a good man. You was doing good. But he told you he can't put up with them grown children. So you made a decision to get rid of him. And now you out there working, feet swole, sick, and they home in the nice warmth of the house, while you got to get out here and walk to work. You can't even get a ride to work." That's right. I remember meeting a lady, we went out on a date, and she told me she had to call an Uber driver to take her to work every morning. I asked her, I said, "Well, didn't you tell me your son and daughter stay with you?" "Yeah." "Didn't you tell me they got a car?" "Yeah, but they don't like for me to wake them up in the morning." "Check. Can I get the check?" Ain't no need to go no farther. But I'm going to tell y'all something here. When you done live, God done bless you. Think about it now. God bless you to be on a job for 40 years. You know what they say about you? You ain't been sick enough to lose your job. You ain't been locked up in jail or nothing. You had a salary for 40 straight years. And if you had saved $100 a month, which is $25 a week, that's $1,200 a year times 40. You have some money. Huh? Just $100. And he made good money. But he can't retire. We don't think that we're going to get old. See, we live in, the favorite thing that they be saying, the famous words that everybody be saying around, "Tomorrow ain't promised to you." That's true. That is true. But boy, when tomorrow comes and you ain't prepared, now look at you.
What do you think about retirement? Is retirement even something that's going to happen for a lot of people? I think a lot of people thought they were going to be able to retire until inflation started going crazy, and it's probably not even done. Inflation is just out of control. I don't even think they show us what real inflation is because the cost of living is just outrageous. Like, I don't even understand how people afford apartments these days. My mortgage is about $640, and then for the year, I pay about $2,000 in taxes. But if my property value gets reassessed, those taxes are probably going to more than double. And my mortgage is really low, but there's people out there that are paying for the house I have, which is 4 bedrooms. I think a house like this would probably go for about $2,500 around my area. I don't understand how people are affording to pay rents like this. Because if I had a family of 5 like I have right now and went to go rent a place, it would cost me so much money. I wouldn't be able to afford it. And we got people out there that are retired and are on fixed incomes, and the prices of things just keep going up. I saw a guy yesterday, this was actually yesterday, at Walmart, and I overheard him on the phone. It was an older man. Apparently he's retired, and he was saying how I can't even afford to get gas to go home. He was at, I think I said McDonald's. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling right now. We were at McDonald's. The guy was sitting there, and he's on the phone, and he's saying, I can't afford to get gas to go home. Like it's crazy. Like, it's outrageous, the cost of things. People are having to come out of retirement. Do you see an end in sight for you? Do you think you're going to get a retirement? I'm just wondering, because things are just so out of control. I think a lot of people were planning for a retirement, but is it something that can actually happen? Now, in my case, I could probably retire if I keep this house and eventually pay it off, and then I just have the property taxes. But who knows what's coming? Like, are you going to be able to retire? Let me know. I'm curious about this because I think a lot of people that were planning on retiring probably decided not to now.
I am noticing that more and more people are starting to settle into the idea that they won't be able to stop working. And if you pay attention, you're going to notice it everywhere. There are people in their late 60s still clocking in. There are people in their 70s still greeting you at the door. And I don't care what anybody says. All of them people are not there by choice, y'all. And it shouldn't be the norm. But it happens when every year goes by and you never stopped long enough to plan your way out, to make sure that you have a plan to have your way out. And so more people aren't retiring. They just keep working until their body says, I can't anymore.
I think ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, I think people have actually come to terms with the fact that they very well could be working well into their 70s, and people have chosen like various different roles in their company where the company very well don't offer like stock options. The company very well doesn't offer a 401k, or even if they offer a 401k, they probably don't match. And some people might have got really upset about that, but ultimately you either decide to opt in and not leave money on the table, long term, and just kind of just roll with the punches, so to speak. And it's very, very unfortunate that people are very well going to work into their golden years, essentially, right? Leave a comment down below if you are in this situation, or you're working right now, you're well into your late 60s, like pushing 70, and you're working part-time job, full-time job, and just to make ends meet. All right, life in general, I really appreciate y'all listening to what I gotta say, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.